I'm Ali Patterson, and in today's episode of the Fintech Show, we're looking at how banks of all shapes and sizes need to adapt to rapidly changing customer needs and demands. Updating a bank's back-end systems across continents can be a wee bit of a painful experience, but our speakers today don't think that has to be the case anymore by using artificial intelligence. There are numerous ways for large multinational banks to integrate this technology seamlessly. So to get the lowdown, I brought in some experts in the field to tell us more. Coming all the way from Singapore, we have Victoria Harverson from SmartStream Technologies, a recognized leader in financial transaction management solutions that enables firms to improve operational control and reduce costs. Coming to us from Canada's ScotiaBank, we have Phil Thomas. Phil is responsible for providing strategic direction and leadership for customer insights, data and analytics globally. And last but not least, we have Sohail from Societe Generale, who heads up execution platforms and is their UK Chief Digital Officer. With such a demand when it comes to front-end services, why should banks be looking to invest and improve their core back-end systems? What can that benefit the customers?
Yeah, I think that's an important point. So it depends how you want to look at it. I mean, their core systems can range from within our business from cash payments solutions to financing, trade finance, to our private banking solutions, and also our capital markets solutions as well. And what we try to do is look at that from a client perspective initially, but we mustn't forget the employees, because what we try to do is make sure that whatever we offer to clients or is used by clients is also used by our internal team, because we obviously have a very strong approach to relationships. And even in the situation that we're in, even though it's much more digital in terms of engagement, and that's been obviously quite a big change mindset and approach for not only SG but other organizations. I think we were slightly better placed for that because we had our SG Markets platform, which covered those business lines, business areas. And it has been quite focused on clients, but what we wanted to make sure is when that client interaction was ongoing, whether that be sales, whether that be support, operations, it really doesn't matter. That whoever the touch point is within the organization, they have the same information that they see as a client sees. So it's important that whatever we offer to clients is also made available to our employees and our staff to make sure they're also engaged, but also makes that relationship even more effective. And going forward, I think the digital relationship is obviously going to grow, but that human side as well is still going to be an important facet, because I think people are going to be wanting to still have that dialogue, whether that be through chat on messaging or via video call or phone calls or whatever that mechanism may look like in the future. It's now getting into a situation where clients and their expectations are higher in terms of, okay, well, I'm being much more kind of task driven, if you like, when you're in this kind of situation. Of course, there's the niceties, we have a conversation and talk about other things, and that's changed, I think, compared to how it was before. So having that digital engagement, that customer experience, and what customers are expecting is definitely a lot more than what it was, and that level of information and the getting to solutions relatively quickly or finding solutions that can help the clients is key.
As a consumer, I don't look at my bank and go, "Oh, that's a fantastic back office system in there." What can customers, both on the retail and the corporate side, what can they notice about improved back end processes?
No, I hear you. The customers don't really see that underlying activity on the back end, you're right. But improving core systems, I suppose, from a customer perspective is actually very tangible, even though they don't feel it. It would be onboarding them quicker, going through that motion of the onboarding process a lot faster, because the core banking system is more ready to accept their information, more agile and flexible to their information. And also offering new products is a lot easier. That's a big benefit to the customer. They'd be able to start trading and using new products a lot faster. I suppose our customers using our AI solution in their core banking architecture, the things they can do is they can inspect data between front, middle and back office systems very easily. They can also better leverage their transaction data, so they can then run business intelligence. They can do things like forecast client spending and the trading behavior with that data. I don't think these are new concepts. We are also running a number of initiatives with technology stakeholders at banks to help them speed up their development and transformation projects. So if you want to do a major core bank change or an update, we can give you guys AI, we can give you a tool for a number of development tasks. We are using it at the moment to run QA tasks that would usually take 4 hours. We can do this in just 4 minutes using artificial intelligence with a fraction of the resource. So that's what some of the areas we're helping our customers to do these things.
As far as banking is concerned, what is the biggest opportunity with AI and machine learning in the retail and the corporate space? Because there's a slight element of, sprinkle a little bit of AI on this and this will be better. But how do you try and get to the point where you have that Bezonomics flywheel spinning?
Yeah, no, for us, Ali, we view AI as an opportunity across many of our business lines. And we've been exploring the use of AI in our retail businesses, both in Canada and international, as well as our capital markets business. The use of machine learning and AI has been critical for us over the past number of months through the COVID period. And let me give you one example of how we've been using it, just maybe to add some tangibility. We've really been leveraging the data and the machine learning techniques to identify our most vulnerable customers that could be impacted through or by COVID. And then being able to, through those models, identifying the people that will be the most impacted, and then building proactive outreach programs for these customers so that our traditional channels, our branches, our call centers, etc., have leads. They know the customer, they know the customer's financial situation, and they're able to come up with relevant solutions based upon what we're coming up with in our predictions through the machine learning models that we've been putting in place. I think the big thing for us, Ali, is really being making sure that we're using the data ethically, and we're running the algorithms that we're using through the COVID period or otherwise with very little to no bias. And so we're very cautious of how we've been managing. Obviously, this is a very sensitive period for us. We have very sensitive data, and we're very mindful of how we've been using that ethically.
What are the opportunities surrounding the use of AI in the back office, at the back end?
Okay, that's a good question. It's a big question about the sort of opportunities in AI. Just before I comment on that, I think it's worth saying, just because you want AI or you see the value in it, it doesn't mean you actually have an efficient implementation strategy to get it in place. I remember someone quoting a CEO of Capital One saying, consumers will demand it, technology companies will necessitate it, but the challenge is banks are not really built to deliver those capabilities. Now, why is that? And I think the challenges here are legacy IT infrastructure. Systems often don't share data or interoperate with each other. There's also a lot of divisive feelings around using AI still. It's either the solution to solve the problems in banks, and it's a great thing, and it's well supported, or the fear is that people are going to lose their jobs if you put it in place. So I think the truth is, if you don't do this, someone else will. And back to your question in terms of the opportunities, and where you see these opportunities in AI. In the front end, the AI is much more recognized and supported, and people get it. We talk about delivering really personalized experience, like your Amazon analogy, ultra personalized experience. We learn from the customer's behavior, we market to them in the right way. But in the back end, we're looking to implement AI where we can control risks and increase productivity and efficiency, and in turn this lowers costs. In the core systems, you could think about doing things like modeling the lifetime value of the customer, or fraud prevention with AI, or ID verification, KYC, churn prediction of the customers. But one of the areas we focus on at SmartStream in our innovation labs is AI in the data management space, and being able to compare high volumes of data to look for discrepancies instantly using AI. So we've now got no need for you to build a data reconciliation in our latest AI solution. The AI does it for you. We use supervised and unsupervised and observational learning techniques, and you can link system data together to make sure it displays in all the same systems accurately, and we can reconcile vast volumes of transaction data in lots of different formats in minutes rather than days. So just back to your question, the opportunities are many. We focus on operational productivity enhancement, and we want to do more with less when it comes to AI.
Well, some of the areas that you've been looking to apply AI directly to, what's been some of the success stories actually on the ground in terms of wheels in motion?
Yeah, certainly. It's I'll go back to the retail example, and prior to COVID, we had built a very interesting model on customer value, so identifying and being able to tier our customer base. With the advent of COVID, as I mentioned, we pivoted that to looking at vulnerability, and with the advent of COVID, we used this vulnerability model to reach out to about 2 million of our customers that had potential to be impacted by COVID. We were able to link those to a proper financial solution, whether it was a deferral, whether it was re-amortizing or refinancing the loans, to be able to make it more affordable for our customers to bank with us. And ultimately, we saw through this process, our net promoter scores increased in the retail part of the bank where we deployed this, as well as we saw increases in delinquency in the control groups. And so it was a win for the customer. They felt valued. We proactively reached out to them. The feedback from those customers was excellent on the work we were doing. And then as we looked at delinquency levels, it had a positive impact on our delinquency, which obviously has the downstream impact is reduction in provisions for credit loss, which has an impact to the bank's bottom line. So really, it's a win for customer and a win for the bank. I mean, ultimately, we're in the customer experience business, and so I think what I got most excited about was being able to use our machine learning models and our deep learning and advanced analytics skill sets to really help our customers during a period of stress, and that certainly showed through our net promoter score numbers.
How important are fintech ecosystems when it comes to being able to deploy new products or technologies such as AI across the whole business?
Absolutely. I think it's important to be plugged into an ecosystem of some description, and then being smart around those partnerships and investments as well. Like I said, going back to this kind of use case scenario and saying, well, is it fit for purpose? Is it going to give us a solution to a problem that we've identified that we can work with a client or internally to enhance our relationship with the client? And I think if we keep going back to that, and I use the word problem, and I don't mean it from a negative perspective. Challenge is probably the better phrase that we should be using, but it's the same kind of philosophy, which is there's a challenge, there's a problem. How do we fix it? How do we think around that? And what can we use in the ecosystem as well as internally? Because we still have a lot of assets internally, and what we're trying to do is it's kind of think about the reusability and repurposing, and also making sure that whatever somebody else has done something, that we can reuse that. And we don't have to kind of start from scratch. So again, having an internal ecosystem that says, hey, I've got a great idea, it's solving this particular problem. Actually, there's an API ready for that. So can we use that API? Is it documented very well? Can we test it? Can it be extended easily now that we need to offer this particular feature to a client? So it's also internally, looking in terms of ecosystems and the approach that we take, and moving away from silos to a much more open mindset within organizations. And then thinking about outside that to see, okay, well, outside of the open source capability, and a lot of these platforms and frameworks are using open source platforms as well. So we're doing that. And then also looking at, okay, third parties or partners that have something different or unique that we could then offer into our platform or our offering to clients or internally.
That's a really good point, and something I'm a real advocate for, being part of an ecosystem. I think this is really important because we all have to get comfortable individually and as corporations with our strengths and weaknesses. We focus on AI, we focus on the underlying engines that allow you to take data and reconcile it rapidly and effectively. There are many other fintechs that do data visualization, for example. They may do that very well, so we can integrate to those, and we can allow our customers to then run deeper analytics, deeper business intelligence. So we know that we do the AI part really well, but we might recommend you integrate our AI product with another solution that allows you to visualize what you learn from the data in a different way, to better suit the customer's needs. So we have to be comfortable with doing those things, and we are. And I'm familiar with partners that work with RPA, robotic process automation, with OCR and scraping of unstructured data from physical docs or websites. So it just makes sense for us and banks to partner with other organizations and share experience and capabilities. It's just a win-win for everybody. And like I said, you can't be everything to everyone. You have to focus on strengths and allow others to focus on their strengths. And I think it's important to have a plan and be thinking about your strategy for ecosystem partners. I can't disclose who we are working with, but that's my clue. That's the clue I'm giving away. We're talking about integrating our artificial intelligence with business intelligence and MIS tools that allow you to visualize the reconciled AI data in a much more meaningful way. So we've built the products to enable our customers to do that. We are just carefully selecting which ones of those providers we choose to work with, who we think are the best, and where the commercial models make sense as well.
Well, that's all we've got time for on today's episode of the Fintech Show. I'd like to thank first of all Victoria, Sohail and Phil, and also you, the viewer too. You can catch the rest of the Fintech Show over at fintechf.com and of course on YouTube and LinkedIn. See you soon. Bye.